I've spent over $5,000 and it took me more than 2 years to finally become profitable. In that time, I was dealing with so much doubt and uncertainty on a daily basis, questioning if it was worth all the effort I was putting in when I'd never know if it would pay off in the end. I would like to share with you the three mental frameworks which helped me get through the tough times, which I know a lot of you who are listening are going through right now. The first mental model is visualizing the journey as a hiking trail leading to the peak of a mountain. With any trail, it's never going to be a straight journey up. There will inevitably be times when the path requires you to move a bit lower. And when you look back at the peak of the mountain, you will feel further from your goals. But in reality, so long as you are on a path leading to that peak, you actually moved closer in distance. So, for example, right over here, we might be 400 feet away from the peak. However, right here, we are actually lower. We might be 500 feet away from the peak. The goal is not to look at where you are in relation to the peak, but rather how much distance have you actually moved. So if I am right here, I'm actually further away from the peak compared to right here. So it's important to first visualize the desired outcome and believe that it's possible. And from there, look at the present from a hindsight perspective where you put yourself in the position of having already achieved that goal. So now you can look back at everything that's happening to you in your life as just building blocks towards that goal. So the version of you right now who is going through something difficult, it helps if you position yourself as having already achieved the goal so that you can look back on the current struggles as just things that you had to go through in order to become the version of you who already got what you wanted. And with trading, your P&L is going to be constantly fluctuating. For example, just last November in 2025, I ended the month profitable. I was on a mental high since I took out payouts and I also passed more evals and had more funding. I immediately invested into max allocation on a firm and ended up blowing everything. And yes, this literally includes the funded accounts that I just passed. And it's in these times when you have to ask yourself, did I at least make progress in my desired direction and thus move closer to the goal? If the answer is yes, take it as a learning lesson or an opportunity to reinforce the right habits and keep going. For me, I took it as a learning lesson that when I am no longer fixated on the process and am instead much more focused on an outcome, then it's an immediate red flag for me to size down. The way I bounced back was not dreading on the fact that I felt further from my goal, but rather just understanding that it was an essential lesson for me at this current stage. And it's basically what will help me progress as a trader as I continue to manage more capital in the future. And the cool thing about this visualization is that it literally mimics the journey of trading, where once you reach the goal or once you reach that peak, you momentarily will look back down and realize just how far you've come. But at the same time, once you turn around, and you look higher, you realize that there's always another mountain to climb with new struggles and new problems to face. Also, if you trade prop firms but you're confused with what account you should buy or which firm you should trade with, I made a free roadmap detailing the steps from passing an eval to scaling your funding across other firms. You can get full access to it right away by clicking the link in the description, and you don't even need your email. The next mental model is to look at the person you've become as evidence to keep going. Until you have a system in place with set rules and a long-term strategy, you will not be profitable. And even when you do, there's going to be uncertainty of edge decay. All of this contributes towards the feelings of uncertainty, and it's why trading feels so difficult. It's in these situations that we feel the most insecure and vulnerable, and it's when we seek for certainty. Some look for it in short-term results, and they become overly high and low based on their P&L. So if they make money, they're going to be super ecstatic, and if they are red, then they're going to feel really, really bad about themselves. The real value comes from being able to compare who you are today to who you were yesterday. And by yesterday, it could mean 5 years ago, it could mean 2 days ago, or even just a week ago. I've always remained mindful of the fact that I will never be able to place a deadline on profitability, because whenever I did, I was always met with disappointment. So therefore, the only conviction and proof that this journey was worth suffering for was the undeniable evidence that I'm a better person as a result of the doing. And what you personally define as better is unique to each one of you. For me, it was becoming a more trustworthy, confident, and capable man who is better equipped to protect and provide for his loved ones. Therefore, at the end of it all, even if trading doesn't allow me to meet my financial goals, I know that the confidence I've developed by doing the things I said I'd do will undoubtedly carry over to whatever else I decided to pursue. The third mental model is to acknowledge what is not certain, such as when you will be profitable, and use it as a reminder that what isn't certain has higher rewards. The reason why a business owner makes more money than their employees is because they have to deal with the uncertainty of a paycheck. Yes, they'll be paid the most when times are well, but when in the midst of a dry period, the employee is still guaranteed to get paid. Trading is essentially the same thing. You can't expect the consistency of a paycheck when the whole reason of why you got into trading was for the exponential potential of making a month's salary in a few minutes. Earlier on in my trading journey, I was expecting to show up and get paid, sort of like a regular 9 to 5 job. I thought that traders who flexed their P&L of $2,000 in 15 minutes were making that much on an everyday basis. And it wasn't until I had my first green year when I looked at my statistics and learned that 80% of my profits came from only 20% of my trades. And I vividly remember watching a podcast later that same day, and I recall hearing a trader who's been green for 5 years straight, and their most recent year was a red year. But he stated that it's literally just a part of the game. And it's here where it really hit me that there is no certainty in trading. This job literally rewards you with the fact that you'll never know what next month or next year, and let alone what tomorrow will look like. But it's for this same very reason where, similar to a business owner, why the reward can be so high and why you likely started trading in the first place. The importance of this mental model is to essentially reframe your way of thinking. So when you're inevitably going to be going through hard times, you can tell yourself that this is the reason why most people give up, and this is the reason why the rewards are so lucrative. If you're watching this video, it means that there's something preventing you from becoming profitable or scaling your trading. I offer a one-on-one trading breakdown where I'll help diagnose what those problems actually are and offer a solution for what you should be doing instead. This is not for people who want a simple fix to get rich quick, but rather, if you're someone who's fixated on growth and you're obsessed on developing your skill set as a trader, then book a call through the link in the description. Because you'll be speaking with me directly, I only take a select number of calls per week, so book now while the slots are limited.